Well, I just got a call from the sawyer. My cherry logs are cut up into boards, so I'm going to head over there and pick those up, and I'll show you what they look like when I get there. I'll find out too. Hang in there. Okay, I made it over here, and I'm pretty sure these are my boards. The guy that cut them in here right now, but they're thick enough to do the job that I want, but I'm going to have to do some serious cutting on them to get them the width that I want. They're ate up pretty bad. This one was a lot worse than I expected it to be, but I think with all of them I can come up with something that works. There's two there that are fairly thick, and there's two down there on the end that are fairly thick. So I should be able to make a nice countertop out of them, and whatever's left I'll use for framing. Well, I'm starting on my galley, and I've got these two boards cut to length, and I've got the width cut on them. I'm going to have a live edge on this end, this edge over here, that will be flipped over because this is actually the bottom side of the cabinet, okay, and the tops will be a lot closer together. I'm going to have to fill some of these gaps with wood putty in order to get them to seal up when I put my countertop cover on there, the super glaze, which is the epoxy, clear epoxy. I want a good thick epoxy on there to make sure that it's sealed up. Anyway, it's going over here, and this water tank right here is going to be moved over here where the batteries are, and that pump is already mounted where it goes. The batteries will be mounted on a shelf up here above the water tank. I don't want any water to accidentally leak or spill in the vicinity of those electrical connections, so I'm going to put the batteries above the water tank. Anyway, stay tuned, let's see what happens. Okay, I've got the countertop built, and I've got part of the framing. I've got the tank where it goes, and the pump is going to be right directly behind it, and then the batteries will be up above the tank in this area. I've also got the stove cut in. You talk about a job. That was a challenge. 2 1/4 inch thick countertop, and I had to cut it out with a sawzall, and I got into one of the front braces up here with the sawzall, so I ended up working at it for quite a while. But anyway, the stove's where it's going to go, and that little cabinet there will slide up against this cabinet to make a nice L-shaped galley area. There will be a sink here, and I haven't decided yet if I want to spend all that extra time cutting that in or if I want to mount it on top. But I've still got some filling to do. You can see there's a hole right there, so I'm going to have to get some wood filler, and I'm going to have to fill in from underneath because I'm going to put super glaze on this, and I don't want it oozing through and wasting a lot of super glaze for no reason at all. I got my 12-volt system powered up right there. It's not hooked up to the batteries right now. The batteries are just sitting idle. The solar panel is hooked up, but I don't have to worry about it because the inverter here is shut off. So I've still got a lot of work to do here. I've still got a lot of work underneath building the cabinets, but it's coming along nicely. Okay, I want to give you a little bit of an update of what's going on here. I got the super glaze on. I think I've already pointed out the hole for the sink, the hole for the stove. There's 2 holes for the faucet, and it's a bathroom style faucet, but it's got a real long neck on it. I went ahead and put a penny in there. It's a 2019 penny. It's sealed in, but I'm building the rest of the cabinet. Most people will put their cabinets in first and then their countertop, but I'm doing this backwards. This area right in here is going to be where we'll eventually put a water heater right here. But my plumbing is going to be right here, hooked to that pump. Those are for my batteries, which will be sitting on this shelf right here. And then I'm going to continue this. This is the hardwood flooring that was left over from the cabin. And I picked up a couple of hinges so that it stays shut all by itself. Okay, I'm going to build another door right in this area and then start a solid wall, and I'll get over to this area right in here and I'll put a set of doors right here that'll bring me to the end. So I've got the end of it done, and I pieced it in because it's tongue and groove, and there's a tongue and a groove right here in this area that attach these together. So it's going to stay together. At any rate, stay tuned. Okay, second door's in place, and I guess you could say I've reached a stopping point, because in order to put the stove in, I'm going to have to drill a hole through the wall outside so that I can hook the propane tank up. And I need to get that taken care of because my batteries are going to sit right down in here, and I need to know how much space I have to have for that hose, because I'm going to put a T in it so that I can run it over to the water heater when it comes in, when we get it. But I got to put my batteries in here, and I got to have room for that hose to get in there before I set all my batteries in place. So I'm going to head over and pick up a drill bit so that I can drill all the way through to the outside wall, and I'll be back. A little bit of flooding over here. We've had some heavy rains lately. Part of the reason I love this country is just the wide open spaces. You got timber, we've got soybean field over here to the left, there's cornfields all around. There's a little bit of irrigation down in here, but that's because it's sandy soil, doesn't hold water well. Beautiful country, beautiful country. Little old country church. In the wintertime, if you don't have a four-wheel drive and there's snow and ice on this road, you can't make it up it. You have to have four-wheel drive to get up this hill. And of course it's a county road, so it's not really well maintained. Sure is a beautiful drive though. Okay, I'm back. I picked up a 7/8 drill bit, and this particular drill bit's 16 inches long, so it'll go all the way through the outside wall. But what I want to do is just drill it through to the outside, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insulation in that wall. I've also got wires in that wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this drill bit and I'm going to poke it through that hole and work it through the insulation to the point where I can hit the outside wall and not end up with a ball of insulation all over my drill bit. Hopefully that will work. It doesn't seem to be. Doesn't seem to be working at all. Okay, so I'm outside. I did end up with a wad of insulation on the drill bit, which I expected. But I have a straight hole straight through, and what I'm going to do now is take my propane gas line hose and feed it through from the outside so that I can hook it up to my stove. Okay, that was fairly simple. What I did is I took the drill bit out of the drill, poked it through the hole all the way to the outside, and then I took the fitting and slipped it over the end of the drill bit and then pushed it all through all at the same time, and it worked right through there perfectly. So now all I got to do is hook up my stove, set it in place, and I can hook my gas bottle up and start cooking. Okay, the stove is in place, and I'm getting ready to hook the faucet into place. It's not plumbed by any means. I don't have the sink. My wife took it home so that she could resurface the inside of it, make it look nice. It's ceramic on steel is what it is, and it needs some serious work. There's some chips in it, and she's going to try and coat those to protect it from rusting, and then it'll be ready to be put into place. I'll still have to put a drain in, which I'll determine where that goes as soon as I get the sink pan back. But I've got the gas line run through the outside of the cabin. I'm ready to get it hooked up to a propane bottle, and if I have to put a T in here underneath to hook the water heater up to, there's plenty of room to do that. I'll put my batteries on the front of the shelf here so that they're not interfering with my gas line or my water lines for that matter. As I said earlier, I got a bathroom faucet for this particular application because it's smaller. It takes up a lot less space. It comes with a plunger for the drain, but I decided not to use that particular drain because I've got one that I can put in that's just a regular stopper. It has a regular plain rubber stopper to go in there, and you can replace those stoppers anytime. So I'm not going to go with the plunger on this application. After all, it is a kitchen sink, not a bathroom sink. So the hard part with tightening these nuts up is they're clear up inside the wood. This wood is 2 1/4 inches thick, and that's how long the nipples are on the bottom of this faucet. So I had to bore out a bigger space in order to accommodate the plastic nuts. But it's going in, and once it's in place, it'll stay there. So it's coming along, like I said, it's coming along really nicely. I'm real pleased with the way this whole application is turning out. The sink will be right here. There's switches for the overhead lights when I get the battery hooked back up. There's an overhead light right here and an overhead light right here, so it's basically on both sides of your cooking surface and shining down on your sink. There's also 2 light switches here for the living area. There's 4 lights up above there. So far, I'm real pleased with it. This other table here extends out, and it will fill the gap between the countertop. Plus, that'll give us storage for extra chairs. As you can see, I've got my doors in place here, and we've got 4 chairs all together that go with this table, and they tuck right in here perfectly. That gets them out of the way, and if there's a water heater mounted inside there, there's no need to get inside that cabinet. So I didn't get door pulls or anything for it. I'll get some for the other doors when I get that far. But okay, I got the switch in for the water pump, and it's down low right there. And I've got the walls building nicely. Batteries are in place. I've got lights on above the galley right now. So the stove is in place, the faucet's in place. I'm just going to start building the doors now. So, coming along, stay tuned. Okay, so let's get a closer look at this thing. Now, like I said, the sink is missing because my wife's going to refurbish it. But I've got my chair storage underneath there, and that cabinet will be closed primarily because there's no reason to get into it. And then over here, I've got 2 cabinet doors right here, and I haven't got doorknobs for them because I've got some at home that I can put on here that'll look real nice. But anyway, let me open them for you. They open up really nicely, and if you close that side first and then close this side, they overlap. So they'll stay shut. Don't have to worry about that. Now all I have to do is get a piece of coping to put on the outside of this corner right here to cover up that bare wood. But all in all, I think it looks pretty darn good. Not bad for a first attempt anyway. I think it's going to be a real nice little getaway. Well, I don't know if you can see it. There's a deer standing over there, just moving out of the picture. Yeah, life is good. Well, it's cabin breakfast time. I'm making some fried potatoes and onions, some bacon, and I'll be adding some eggs to the mix. This is what we call the artery clogger at our cabin, because I fry up about a half a pound of bacon and I use the grease for my potatoes and onions and for my eggs, and by the time I'm done, at least half the grease is gone, depending on how fatty the bacon was. There's a fine mess of potatoes and onions right there. Got a couple eggs cooking right here. They're going to be over easy. Like you see, there's plenty of bacon grease left over. I could have made enough for 4 or 5 people in that grease. Okay, so I did a video one time not too long ago about how to maintain cast iron, and I just put this egg in this frying pan, and look how easily it slides around. without breaking the egg. If your frying pan is properly maintained, it is non-stick cookware. And here's the 2 eggs I've already pulled out. Over easy. This one will be over easy too, and it's just about time to flip it. Look at that. And it still just slides around. So, if you have your doubts about cast iron cookware, put your doubts aside, because it's good to cook with. Food is always better out of cast iron. Okay, time to clog some arteries. Got my coffee, bacon and eggs, fried potatoes and onions. This is going to be good. Okay, just want to give you a quick overview of what it's going to look like with everything in place. We're still going to put a shelf up here somewhere. My wife has some lumber picked out. I don't know what she wants exactly, but we'll figure that out. There's the bench with the Murphy bed behind it. The windows will be trimmed, and of course the mortar mix will be used down there in that last rock that I haven't mortared in yet. There will be a little table here. This is holly, that a tree that my neighbor cut down and gave me the stump. It laid outside for over 8 years and it has not rotted. Unbelievable. So anyway, that's a quick overview of the north side of the cabin. What I'm calling the north side be the northeast. At any rate, there it is. Okay, we'll give you a little more of the tour. That countertop is now cleaned off. The under cabinet has still got to be cleaned. There's a lot of extra stuff stacked that's going to have to be stored. This is a bake oven that goes on top of the little stove. And this pot, I believe, will probably be hung on that wall somewhere. This light is going somewhere else. Wife and I have determined it is going somewhere else. We don't care where. The 2 chairs are here where the love seat used to be. It's a wicker and it's plastic. It's rotted, so we got rid of it. And this is a rocking chair and then a regular 4-poster. And then this particular walnut table is one that I made for the cabin years ago before I made my hickory table. The mate for it, or the other half, is at home, and it's got my Gone Fishing sign in it. This is a pile of scrap wood. I've got some tools that are going to be going home with me after I get done with the little projects out here. This is dog food and a jug to hold the water. Some more sandpaper. This stove will probably be stored here when it's not being used. It's just a little electric heater is all it is. There's a little charcoal grill right there. These are tools that are going to be gone. So, as you can see, it's coming along nicely. Right here, that piece of plywood's going away. Right here in this area right here, I've got a piano. It's stored out in my trailer right now, but it's gutted. There's no metal in it at all other than the screws that hold it together. I'm going to put it there and I'm going to make a bar out of it. So, the table's where it's going to be. And you've already seen the Murphy bed. There's 4 chairs. There's 1 there and 3 tucked underneath. So you can seat 4 at this table. Just pull the leaves up and you've got a nice little round table for 4 people. So that is not the final tour, but pretty close to it, because we are getting to that point. Eventually I'm going to have a fish that I have caught that I'm having mounted. It should have been done by now. It's been over a year. Put it right there. I've got a European mount deer, my first buck shot with a bow. That'll go there. And a friend of mine has a fly rod that he wants to donate, and it'll go up there too. So that's the little shed toe as it progresses. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And click that little bell icon to get notified when I have a new video.